Sheye is the founder of MSME Africa, a social enterprise working at the intersection of enterprise development, community, capacity, and media. MSME Africa, a multifaceted resource platform for micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in Africa. He is a SMEDAN certified and licensed business development service provider, BDSP, for MSMEs and a member of the MSME Community of Practice Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Sheye is a knowledge entrepreneur, a certified trainer, versatile learning facilitator, mentor, consultant, and coach. He is a member of the World Bank's International Finance Corporation, GLC Directory of Training Professionals, and a signatory of the International Finance Corporation IFC GLC Principles for Learning. He is a UK certified trainer with an international award in delivering training IADT from TQUK Training Qualifications United Kingdom. He also has a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation from Scalable and sits on the board of the Africa Foundation for Young Media Professionals. Sheye is also the lead consultant/CEO at Cedar Tribe, a consulting, brand advisory, and training outfit based in Lagos. He emerged as the winner of the Entrepreneur Africa Prize for Media Innovation 2021 and was also the FATE SME Journalist of the Year 2021. He has served as mentor, consultant, and coach on a couple of programs and projects including Tony Elumelu Foundation, TF, Entrepreneurship Program, Cherie Blair Foundation Women in Business Program, Fate Foundation's AEP, Leap Africa SIP, SeedStars Accelerator, Google Hustle Academy, Whitefield Foundation, Coca-Cola SIP and Equip programs, MasterCard Foundation Transforming Nigeria Youth Program. Dreams Foster 2025. Make welcome our third speaker, Sheye Olurotimi.
Amazing. You're mostly welcome, sir, Mr. Sheye Oluwarotimi. And as you join us, we just want to wish you a happy birthday because we know you celebrated your birthday not so long ago. So on behalf of Wise Investment House Foundation, thank you for gracing our event today and happy birthday, sir. Over to
Thank
you,
you
sir.
so much. Thank you so very much, Wise Investment House Foundation. Yes, it was my birthday on Tuesday. Thank you for inviting me to speak, and I must say that I've actually had a good time with the previous speakers. Thank you, Dr. Omo Olabi, for this invitation, and thank you, Dr. Eria Kitunde. Thank you, Ms. Adeolu Bamiru. I had I got great insight from your sessions, and you have also made my session quite easy. So, we're talking about creativity, we're talking about entrepreneurship, and we will see how we can change our mindset about some particular things. And then I think the first thing I also need to say is that God is the one that gives us the idea and the creativity, right? So we need to have that somewhere at the back of our mind, and that's the basis for everything. Every single idea about entrepreneurship, about everything that we're doing, comes from God. And so we cannot divorce God from every form of achievement and every form of aspiration that we may have. So, how do we? Okay, so let me share my screen. We can see my screen, I believe. You could just
Yes, sir, we
confirm in the
can.
chat box. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. And I will also plead with the participant that will make this a bit more participatory. I would ask some questions. Maybe you might not want to speak, but you want to drop your responses in the chat box. That would really be helpful, right? So, how entrepreneurship and creativity empower turning dreams into reality. Why are we talking about entrepreneurship? Why are we talking about creativity? How does this apply to me as an immigrant in the UK, right? So people would say it's a lot easier to become an entrepreneur in Nigeria than it is in the UK. Maybe not, right? But let's go into our discussion. So I have two quotes that I'm going to start with. The first one is there is an entrepreneurial spirit in every one of us. All that is missing is the spark. So while I agree that not everybody would actively practice as an entrepreneur, some of us would not start businesses, and it is not a crime. But every one of us has an entrepreneurial spirit. And for some of us, you would probably have to invest in a business, right? or you would demonstrate that entrepreneurial spirit within a space where you are employed. So that's why you talk about people being entrepreneurs. But every single one of us has that spirit. All that is missing is the spark. And you have to go get the spark for yourself, right? If the spark is missing, it is your responsibility to go get the spark. And the second thing I want to say is being an entrepreneur is a mindset. It starts from your mind. You have to see things as opportunities all of the time. So you see a problem, every other person is saying this is a big problem. You are seeing an opportunity. So entrepreneurship is about solving problems for people and solving it profitably. You see a problem, you solve it, but at the other side of the solution is also something attached to it, which is called profit. And that's what you get for solving a problem. You bring the value on the table, people are willing to pay for that value, they exchange their money for the value, and everybody smiles. You solve that problem, they also give you money. All right, so now let's talk about our context. Okay, before we talk about the context where we operate in, I have three questions for us to answer. So you just want to type in your answer in the chat box. My first question is this: would you like to start something of your own in the UK someday? Just type in the chat box, yes, no, I'm not sure, I'm not interested, why are you bothering me? Anything you feel like typing, just type in the chat box. Okay,
I'm going
so
to
I'm
encourage
seeing,
everybody to use their chat box and just type
please.
away.
Yeah, it's coming, it's coming. So I'm seeing a lot of yes, 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 yes. Are we very sure? So, so it's still yes, 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 yes. So it does look like every one of us would like to start someday. Okay, that's good. Good, good, good. Let me go to the next question. If you were to start something, what industry excites you the most? Food, fashion, tech, services, healthcare. Which one excites you the most? So let me have the response to that also in the chat box. If you were to start, which sector excites you? Where would you want to start? Property. Okay, now. Healthcare. Okay, so let me see. Omosholakwe is property. Fola is training. Olubimi says healthcare. Oluwole says services. Brenda is public health. Shino wants to farm. Cool. Karen is food, beauty, services, and health. Food. I mean, I'm loving the energy that I'm getting from all the participants. Fashion, coaching, and property. So this suggests to me that those ideas have crossed our minds already, right? And that's a good one. So it's been found out that an average individual, you have about 60,000 ideas crossing your mind every single day, about 60,000, and that's a lot. And so it's not so much how many ideas that we have, it's actually how many of them that we actually execute, right? So let me go to the last question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to start something in the next 12 months? On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready? So if 10 being the highest, if you're ready to start like this evening after the session, you could be 10. And if you are still thinking, maybe you're not even sure, it could be 0 or 1. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to start something? Timilola says 10. Interesting. Cool. So I'm seeing a lot of 7, 8, 5, 8. And please, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. So 0. I love the sincerity. 8. So that means it's not going to, you're not planning for it to start in the next 12 months. And it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Okay, cool. So I'm seeing 3, I'm seeing 5, I'm seeing 10. And that's really, really awesome. That's really, really awesome. Somebody wants to start a poultry and animal farm in Nigeria. Cool. So I'm seeing 1. So the reason why I ask those questions is just for you to think in that zone again. I know for some of us, that idea had come to your mind and you have jettisoned it because you needed to do what is obtainable at the moment. But asking you that question, I'm sure, made you think for some minutes about that idea that had crossed your mind before. And I think that is helpful. Spiritual at 10, physical to Adibowale, I understand the faith factor, right? So the spiritual, everything is sorted. Physical too. So let's superimpose the spiritual on the physical. So let me just say, I command it to happen right now. All right. So I'm sure. That's cool. That's cool. So let's go on. So I'm not about to act like the landscape in Nigeria where I reside is the same as the UK, right? So, and that's why I'm doing like a little bit of comparison and trying to see why picking a job, what it looks like to start a business and to pick a job as an immigrant. So in Nigeria, I can just decide today that I want to start a business and I will start it. I just need to get an Instagram page and then maybe I start dancing on the page, I start creating content and whatever, and boom, so let's look at some of the things that could be, no, let me not say excuses, but let's compare the landscape, right? So when it comes to starting a business versus picking a job in the UK as an immigrant, number one thing is stability and security. Starting a business feels riskier when you are trying to settle. I mean, you have bills, right? And the bills are not waiting. So in Nigeria, we pay rent maybe annually, or sometimes some people even ask to pay for 2 years in advance, which means that for the next 1 year, you're not thinking rent. I know that in the UK, the landscape is different. Every month, the bills are coming. So you pay property tax, you pay this, you pay that. And so the bills are not waiting. It does look like you don't even have time to catch your breath before the next bill shows up. So sometimes that could be an obstacle to saying, I want to start a business, knowing that sometimes the business might not start yielding until you have some time, right? You have put in some time. So you might not have that luxury to wait because the bills are not waiting. So it is understandable. So because of that stability and security, some people would rather just get settle for paychecks so that they can settle their rent, send money back home. And the people at home are also asking you black tax, and you want to prove to them that you're actually succeeding. So another thing is immigration and legal status. Some sort of visa will restrict you. You might not be able to do self-employment. Some tell you can only work for 20 hours somewhere. So that could be another reason why starting a business might not be as easy as anyone could think. Okay. Cultural, what about lack of information and awareness? A lot of people don't know that there are support systems in the UK for starting a business. So there are startup loans, innovator visa, free business mentoring networks, and whatever. Some people don't know because probably have been you have a template. So get into the UK, go get a job, and then start making money. So some people don't have those information. There's also cultural conditioning. Starting a small business in Nigeria is a normal thing. In the UK, the formal system is there. Your licenses have to be sorted out, taxes, insurance, strict rules, and what have you. So it can be intimidating for you to want to start even a small business because those things you have to comply with them. Capital and financial barriers too could be another problem. Access to credit could be other if you don't have strong financial history. Many people are still repaying their migration costs, right? Some people have to sell their properties, some have to get loans to relocate. So visa costs, all the expenses incurred, you are still trying to pay them. Right? It does not make sense to go start a business. And we totally understand. For some people, it's time pressure. You spend long hours working 9 to 5, then 5 to 9 again, and what have you. So you probably even don't have any hour to start thinking of side also. Another reason why people don't start business or it might be difficult is because in a foreign country, failure feels heavier. Everybody expects that you have crossed the borders, you have crossed the seas to go to the UK or wherever you go to go make money. So failing there, it's a lot more difficult to even swallow, right? So I totally understand. Why did I go through all of this? So that I understand, I make you understand that I'm not comparing the landscape in Nigeria to the UK, but after looking at all of this, we need to now reframe and tell ourselves that there can actually be opportunities in those things we have considered obstacles, right? What's entrepreneurship basically is about turning ideas into action. That's probably the summary I would give. There's an idea, you put an action behind it, and you execute. We're saying that for this conference, we are trying to get people from just staying with dreams to actualizing those dreams. That's what entrepreneurship does. You have ideas, you turn them into action. Okay. And looking at creativity too, it's an integral part of entrepreneurship. It helps you to generate new ideas, drive innovation, and provide solutions to challenges in a competitive marketplace. So creativity, entrepreneurship, they go hand in hand. And I dare to say that every one of us actually is creative. You can be creative. It just takes you going into your inner recess and bringing out all those things that have been deposited there, right? But of course, there are moods that get into creativity. There are exercises, there are practices that bring out the creative juice on your inside. So how much you explore those things, it's another conversation entirely, right? Now, how do we shift the mindset? Number one thing, which is my key message, is that a paycheck alone can sustain, but entrepreneurship and creativity can actually transform. So let me say that again. A paycheck can sustain, but entrepreneurship and creativity can actually transform. They can transform you, transform your family, even transform the people around you, and transform nations, right? So what's the limiting cycle? Living paycheck to paycheck, always calculating bills and never having freedom. And then you're afraid of falling sick, because falling sick means you're not going to make money and the bills are going to pile up. And so we talk about financial freedom, financial liberty, and some other thing. And for some of us, it's difficult to cross into financial freedom. So we have to always show up, work, make money, spend, and then rinse and repeat. That is not sustainable. And we need to get out of that rat race at some point. It's not a problem that you are there at the moment, but it becomes a problem if you don't have a plan to get out of it. And you are perpetually in that cycle over and over again, right? Then there's an advantage that we have as immigrants: the resilience factor, the creativity factor, and your cultural uniqueness. It's something that can actually pave way for you if you can explore those things. Don't see them as an advantage. And then as immigrants, especially Nigerians, you have a strong community base. There are some places you get to in the UK, they look like an extension of Lagos or Abuja. And so it means that those people would need things that are Nigerian that you can make available to them. And they are willing to pay premium for those things because it takes a lot to get them from Nigeria to the UK. So that advantage is there. Don't see it as a disadvantage that you're an immigrant. It's an advantage for you. Just change your mindset, shift your mindset, right? And of course, there is a structured system in the UK that could make funding, grants, and rely. I mean, you have funding, grants, reliable infrastructure, global markets, and what have you. So why am I doing this? I want us to look at our mindset and tell ourselves that the system can actually favor us instead of thinking otherwise. Some immigrants start with jobs, some odd jobs, but after some time they branch into side hustles that eventually become big businesses for them. For instance, somebody could be selling jollof fries weekends or even in church on Sunday. Then it becomes a catering service, and then they start supplying to different stores, and they own a chain of restaurants. So there are possibilities everywhere. There are possibilities everywhere. Why is entrepreneurship and creativity, why are they important? Why do we need a combination of both? Entrepreneurship helps us to solve problems and provide solutions that people can pay for. Creativity is that spark. You know, I said there's an entrepreneurial spirit in everyone of us. We need to find a spark. That spark is creativity. You look at something and you say something can come out of this. You go to the train station, you see that people are going through some things, and whenever that person is complaining about that problem, you are saying, What if I solve this problem for the people? Like somebody was saying that if you wake up every morning, let's use Lagos. Lagos has a population of about between 20 and 25 million. Those 20 to 25 million people in Lagos, they need toothpaste to brush their mouth every day, right? They need food to eat. What if I'm the one providing the toothpaste or I'm the one providing the food for just maybe 1/10 of that population? I would solve a problem that reoccurs every day and I will keep making money on a regular basis, all right? So why is entrepreneurship, why is creativity important? Why should you take a look at them? Number one, they can help you to control your financial future. You can get to the place of financial liberty and financial freedom. They help to express your unique culture and identity, especially when you go into um, product and services for your own kind of people. They create opportunities for other people. You can now become an employer of labor, and they build legacy for your children, right? So that's why we need to consider these things. Very important. I would go into some examples quickly, but we need to learn to actualize our dreams instead of just getting carried away by how lofty and how brilliant those dreams are. Sometimes we have dreams that we have written down for the last 15, 20 years. Dreams are great, but actualizing them is actually greater, right? When we dream, we need to now wake up from that dream and walk out the dream so it becomes a reality. Some of us love so much fantasy. We love to think of those things that would happen, and we're always wishing that those things will happen. And then, it's like you are in a fantasy land. But when you wake up, you need to walk those things. If not, they will remain dreams. And many years will go, and then you see that those dreams are just there. So try to imagine something. Okay? When Adiola first moved to the UK from Nigeria, she started out working night shift as a cleaner to pay her bills. I'm sure some of us have found ourselves in this kind of situation. But she carried, let me move this. But she carried something with her that no one could take away, a love for cooking Nigerian meals. On weekends, she began making small pot of jollof rice and puff puff for friends in her church community. Word spread quickly. People miss authentic Nigerian food, and her cooking tasted like home. What did she decide to do? She tried to set up a small food stall at local community events. With every batch of jollof that sold out, her confidence grew, right? She saved a portion of her earnings, bought better equipment, and started taking small catering orders. Fast forward a few years, Adiola now runs a registered catering business in London called Flavors of Nigeria. She caters for wedding, corporate functions, and even supplies Afro-Caribbean supermarket ready-to-eat meals. She has hired staff, built an online presence, and her food brand is known not just within the Nigerian community, but also among British clients who love her unique fusion dishes. And this can be any one of us. And I bet this is not something novel or whatever. It's not out of this world. But I know so many of us have had dreams like this, but fear of failure, what if it doesn't work, kept us from trying out these things. Or where do I have the time when I need to go and work my 9 to 5, and then when I come back from 9 to 5, I have another shift, another shift, another shift, another shift. But this is actually something that can work, right? We understand. Work out your dreams. Yeah, it's very important that you work out your dreams. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, there are 4 factors. There is risk, there is value, there is venture, and there is profit. And the most important part of it for most of us is profit. But we don't get to profit until you have sorted out the issue of risk, value, venture. That's when profit comes. So risk is, if I start that business, what is the possibility that it may fail? What are the factors that could make it fail? There are risk factors for every business, whether it's food, whether it's fashion, whether even sitting at home on itself, not doing anything is a risk. Not taking a risk is a risk. So there are risks everywhere. For every business you want to go into, you have people that will tell you 10 reasons why it will not work. And then even you yourself can suggest to yourself 20 reasons why it will not work. So I'm not suggesting that you overlook your risk, but take a look at the risk involved in that business venture and tell yourself how you're going to mitigate, right? How you're going to handle the risk. And of course, what value are you bringing on the table? The idea behind the business is that you are solving a problem and creating value. And a venture is the platform through which your value is expressed and your risk are managed, right? You calculate the risk and you mitigate, and then you can now start talking about profit. For everybody who is trying to venture into a business, you need to look at these four things. What are the risks involved in the business? What value am I bringing on the table? Is this value something people are willing to pay for? And then what venture, what platform will bring this to life? And then you can start talking about profit. But everybody loves the sound of profit, but not so many people want to put in the work to get the money. So it's very important that we pay attention. And for every one of us who is working on a job, you need to understand that that job, that business that you're working in was created by someone, and then you also can create something like that. Okay. Now let's look at some stories. There is Afro Saint Chicks, and I'm sure some of us will know this business because it's based in the UK, founded by two Nigerian British women, Joycelyn Mate and Rachel Cousin, back in 2008. These friends they met in the uni and they turned a hair camp nightmare into a movement, right? One of them struggled with hair loss and eczema triggered by chemical relaxer. They decided enough was enough. And what did they do? They created an Afro hair product. And today they are in so many places. Sometimes entrepreneurship is something we stumble on because we run into problems, right? So I run a community of about 7,000 entrepreneurs based in Nigeria and across Africa. And then some of them have very unique story. I know a particular person that produces yam flour, which you call elubo. Um, and she started producing because her daughter got poisoned when she bought yam flour from some vendors. And then because of that thing, the daughter there was food poisoning, the daughter almost died. And because of that, she said, I'm going to go into food production. And that was the story. So for some of us, obstacles would make us stumble on some ideas that can actually fetch us money. Okay. And so for Afro, for these guys, they have their product in so many places today because of a problem that was affecting them that they eventually decided to solve. Okay. So let me look at another example. Sika is another example, also based in the UK, founded by a Ghanaian British designer called Phyllis Taylor. And she started small, made in Africa products, and then the products are now everywhere because she decided to solve a problem. Africans still love to look African everywhere they are. It feels good for me to go to my church on Sunday, wherever I am, and then I'm looking African. So somebody says, we can actually make this happen for you. And they solve the problem and they are making money from it, right? So, and that's it. Let me share one other example. I'm sure we will know this. How many of us know Enish restaurant? One of us know
Yeah,
any
we
short. If you know any
do.
short, you do,
We
right?
do. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I read something about them. I read an interview from the co-founder, and that Shola Medukmin. Let me just quickly read it out. When he was interviewed, he said, again, I started cooking rice at the age of 7. I knew so much about food, and at some point, when I got to the UK in 2005, people were encouraging me to open a restaurant, but I simply said, God forbid. It was like a punishment. You know what? In my first 3 years in the UK, I was trapped in the kitchen. Anytime I applied for a job, I wouldn't get it. But if I apply for a position as a kitchen porter, kitchen assistant, trust me, I will get it. At a point, I was like, this is a curse. But then I was looking for business and nothing was coming apart from that restaurant. So I said, let me give it a try. Let me say, like 11 years ago, I would never think I would create a restaurant. My first place is in Lewisham. My first place in Lewisham was run down. There had been a signboard to let for 3 years and nobody took the place. The first day I went there to check, I saw a big rat. I thought it was Nigeria people that sent the rat to me. My wife and I did manual work there to get the place into shape. We couldn't afford laborers. Opening a restaurant for the first time was the hardest thing I have done in my life. It was a learning curve. And today, I think I read that they have the largest chain of Nigeria restaurant, right? They are now in Dubai, they are now in the US. Sometimes, it looks like, the easier thing to do is for me to just do something else that ensures security and stability. But sometimes the path that is ahead of you is greater than what you could see, right? So, and I'm sure this is something that all of us could learn from, right? So, hope that inspired somebody. Now, what are the practical ways to turn your dreams into reality when it comes to entrepreneurship and creativity? Number one, clarity of vision. You must be sure what you want to achieve. And please don't go into business because every other person is doing it, or until you have been able to understand what exactly you want to do. And sometimes I also understand that dreams can start very small, right? You might not know how the full picture, but have an idea of what you want to do. So ask yourself, what do I really want beyond survival? We must stop thinking beyond survival. I just want to take care of myself and my family now. I don't want to just cook jollof rice, for instance. You can say, I want to build a catering service that people call for weddings and corporate events. That's what you want to be, but you obviously cannot start there. You might start cooking. Maybe you take some food to church on Sunday, people buy from you, and then in the evenings, maybe when you come, you can start taking care of something. But at some point, what you want to be should be in front of you. And you'll be surprised that someday, somewhere, you look back and you look at where you started from and where you are right now, you say, wow, this is awesome. So you must have a clear vision of what you want to do, right? Then start small and start now. But of course, after taking calculated risk. Sometimes the problem is I want to start very big, very, very big. And then because of that very, very big factor, we are not able to start. Okay, so don't wait for big capital. Sometimes you want to leverage skills, network, and digital tools. You want to have a chain of restaurants, you can start by selling food to Niger community when they have events. Before you know it, people start talking about how wonderful your stuff is, and then they start doing referrals for you. Leverage creativity, right? Adapt your cultural uniqueness into what you're offering. Like Afrobeat dance classes for kids in the UK, or you want to start a home lesson. No, maybe you want to start an online class where you teach children how to speak Igbo, how to speak Yoruba, how to speak Hausa. Those are things that people are looking for, and that's one of the things that could actually attract interest from the people, right? Then make use of the UK advantage. There is access to structured market, funding grants, small business support, and a large African diaspora market. Sometimes people don't know these things because we are not looking for information. Build networks, very important. You can't do this alone. Join immigrant communities, business networks, churches, online groups. Your next partner or supplier or customer could actually be around you. But you decided I'm just going to stay on my own. They've told me when I get to the UK, I will avoid Nigerians. I will not do things with them. But they might actually be the people that will be your first set of customers when you start that your business journey, right? So leverage communities and networks. Also learn to be disciplined. And Dr. Area have talked around a lot about discipline and consistency. Dreams don't just become they don't become realities overnight. You have to keep working at them. You have to put in the work, and you have to be disciplined so that you can get the result that you desire to get from it. So briefly, let me talk about the opportunities in the online and digital space. So I have a friend who recently published a book which he wants to turn into a course. So my friend, for some reasons, uh, has been moving from country to country against his wish, right? So he started working with a company in Nigeria. They transferred him to South Africa. Then from there, they transferred him to Spain. They transferred him to, then at some point was overseeing the business in Ivory Coast and Senegal. Now he's back in Nigeria. And it caused a lot of issues for him because it affected his family and his children. Imagine children who were in Spain learning to speak Spanish, right? And then they got transferred to Nigeria again where they were speaking French. A lot of confusion. Now they are back in Nigeria. So that was an obstacle. But you know what, my friend, he wrote a book on how you can navigate living in different countries and experiencing different cultures. And you'd be amazed how much reception the book got. People, he has sold thousands of that book, and now he wants to turn it into a course that people can access, right? Even if he's selling the course for maybe $5, $10. And so, do you want to look at some things that you can create? Because I believe that no experience or expertise is a waste. As somebody who has been in the UK for some time, do you want to create a course or a material on how to job hunt in the UK within your 4 6 months, or how to settle down in the UK, how to some things that are peculiar to immigrants? Do you want to solve the problem for them and create a course around it and sell? Even when you are doing your 9 to 5, because it's selling, you are getting your bank alert and you're fine. And at some point, it can become something very big that can now expand and expand into many things. So there is a lot of opportunity in the online and digital space that we can actually take advantage of. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, it doesn't have to be something very big. You can start small, and then the ideas keep coming. You build on them and become something really, really big, right? So why is online business important? Why is it an advantage? The startup cost is usually very low compared to having to have a brick and mortar shop, right? You can start in your own space. It is flexible. You can do it alongside your job. There is a global reach. You can sell to people in Nigeria, in the UK, in the US, everywhere, just from where you are. And then there are digital tools that can make life a lot easier for you, right? So you want to really, really look at that and see what you can make out of that particular space. What are the different expressions? I already talked about them. You can have an e-commerce or online store where you sell Afro-inspired fashion, food, spices, beauty products, and then you don't have to have a physical job. People just go to your online store, they place orders, you arrange for delivery, they get it, and you're fine. Okay, so content creation and knowledge product. You can write ebooks on so many things. You can write about a beginner's guide to Nigerian cooking in the UK. Some things that look very, very small. You will be amazed how much people, how many people would find that thing useful and they are willing to pay for it. So my idea is this: don't just think about business that you can do and you have to be physically there to do. That's self-employment, really. That is not really, really entrepreneurship. That is self-employment. So move from employing yourself and your time to creating systems that can make money for you, even when you're not physically there. And that's really, really where you can make a lot of money and it becomes replicable. So you must learn to automate your system for generating money. So there is a teacher that goes to people's houses to teach their children. There's another teacher that has created a course in mathematics and English that children can buy. Parents can buy for their children, and then you can have 2,000 people buy, and he's not physically involved with them because he has created the course just once. All he needs to do is to just market and market and market, and it can reach thousands of people. But the one who has to go to different places to make money is limited. So that's how to think, right? That's entrepreneurial thinking. There are a lot of other things, digital services and what have you. So I hope this has created some ideas in somebody's mind. And so in rounding off, I think my time is just remaining 3 minutes. So I want us to write something down, right? So write it down. What is one passion or skill that you have? Let's make this practical. Write it down. What is that skill or passion that you have? What's your skill? What's your passion? Something that you love, that you just love to do. Even if you are not paid, you don't mind doing it. What's that passion? What that skill that you have? Everybody has something in their hand apart from what you're doing, right? So when I say apart from what you're doing, I'm assuming that you have a job that you do. Or if that job is taken out of the way, what's that thing that you have? For some of us, you know how to make hair. For some other persons, you know how to cook. Some other persons, you can knit. So what's that skill that you have in your hand, right? And it doesn't always have to be vocational skill. For some of us, we are good at consulting. Some of us are good at teaching. Some of us are good at so many things. Then the second question: what is that problem you see in the UK community? What's that problem that sometimes when you look at it, you feel like, I wish I can solve this problem? What is that problem that you have identified in the UK community, right? One, because value money follows value, and value is created when there's a problem. So we solve problem by creating value, and then we get paid for it. So what's that problem that you have identified? What's that problem that you have identified, right? Okay, and then the last thing, what is one small step that you can take in the next 30, 60, or 90 days towards your entrepreneurship dream? What's that thing you can do? So I'm not saying go start a business now or go start doing it now, but what's the step that you can take right now? Do you want to come up with a strategy document for that business? Do you want to look at how you can register it? Do you want to talk to some people who will be on your advisory board? What is that next step you want to take? Knowing that you want to venture into this thing and you need to plan for it. What's that step you want to take in the next 30, 60, 90, even 180 days, or in the next 1 year? And be truthful to yourself as much as possible, right? Identify your skill or passion, identify a problem you can solve, and write down the steps you can take to solve that problem. So very important that we pay attention to it. So registering my health coach business, please go ahead and find out what it takes to do it and register. You'll be amazed what it will turn to in the next few years, right? So this is where I'm going to stop. I hope this session is useful to someone, and I hope it sparks something in you. Like I said, there's an entrepreneurial spirit in every one of us. What is lacking in this spark? So I hope this brings the sparks to you today. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, sir. We truly appreciate your gift and your time with us. Mr. Olurotimi, thank you so, so much. I don't know about you, but for me, it's nudged me inside. One is to start a business or start something. The other is to put work into it. Be consistent in it. Start little. You don't have to always start big. And I think that is the main issue that a lot of us have, is that when we want to start something, we think about the massive big picture, but we can always start little. And that's an encouragement to me today. And I hope it's an encouragement to you as well, that you can start little. With that little, you can start, and you don't know where it's going to go. And I think for me, the takeaway is networking. I'm a very reserved person, but learning that networking is a way of improving my business out there. I think that is my challenge in the next 30 days, is to increase my online presence. Amazing, amazing, amazing. If you've got any questions for Mr. Olurotimi, I would say